No,
But
so
yeah, no, we haven't played Madden in a minute. We
now
need to.
they have so they have those rosters you can download to where it's like current rosters, and I don't know if it was ESPN or EA Sports did a they did a simulation, and the first 4 games there were like 6 undefeated teams, and
Oh shit.
yours truly was one of them. What?
Oh
Cowboys,
yeah,
baby.
oh, because we got the new schedules out this week.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh shit, yeah. Who do the Cowboys play? Who do we get? Or who do the
So they
Packers got rolling out?
so the Cowboys play the Rams week 1 at SoFi Stadium. And I think they have the Cowboys winning by like 4, like 31 to 27 or something. Um,
Damn.
I the Rams are the most, I think they're the most interesting like question mark this season, just because like they lost Todd Gurley, and obviously last season they didn't really use him because he was, in and out or whatever. But Austin Eckler freaking kicked butt for him. But my question is like, can Austin Eckler carry the load for 16 games? And run it 20 times, because I think Jared Goff, people give him crap or whatever, but I think he can, if you give him the right system and he throws like 35 to 40 times a game. I think that
Mm-hmm.
he's an effective. I think he's effective, but the problem is the criticism he gets is like that he can't go through his second and third reads. He only throws to his first read. So like last season they weren't as effective as they were the season before, because people caught on with tape and that kind of stuff. So I
Yeah.
think that Shane McVay, I think is his name, their coach. I think that
Sean McVay.
Sean McVay, yeah, whatever. They need to be they need to come up with some creative plays for them. But I think that I don't know. I think that
Their
God,
playbook's boring.
yeah, it's like a single back and shotgun
It's
and
even boring in Madden.
yeah. I hate playing. I like playing with them because they're like last season their receiving core was like incredible.
Yeah.
Um, but I think Goff is better than what everybody says he is. The problem is they paid him a ton of money, so he better be good.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, he's got to be good for that money, but at the same time though, like some people when they get paid, they kind of lose, I feel like that hunger that made them drive to get to being able to make that much. But I don't know, man. I don't think the Cowboys are going to have any problems with the Rams the first game
yeah.
at all. I don't
But
think that's going to
they
be
get
an
to
issue.
play in that new stadium though. It looks sweet. Like,
Yeah.
have you seen have
Oh,
you
that's
seen the
yeah, I
renditions
forgot
of
about it.
that thing? It's like,
No, I haven't. Let me
oh,
look
look it
it up.
up, dude. It's like
Dude.
I don't know. It's gonna be legit. It's got like all natural lighting ceilings.
So there's going to be two new stadiums.
Yeah, the Las Vegas
Yeah.
stadium as well. Yeah, I think, man, not a lot of people talk about it, but I think that Mercedes Benz stadium in
Oh, in
Atlanta,
Atlanta. Oh, yeah,
it
that
looks
one's
sweet.
yeah. Our buddy Ron, whenever he went out there for a conference one time, and like he was posting pictures and stuff of it,
Yeah.
and it was hosted there. It looked cool, man. It was like an unrelated like unrelated, not sports
Oh, probably some
conference,
media. Yeah.
but it was pretty cool looking. Like I was like, damn, that looks dope.
I
Their
think
stadium is
it's unique.
awesome.
I think that's
Yeah,
what, and that's what
yeah.
I think I mentioned it before on the podcast, but we went to last year. We went to Minnesota. Went to a Twins game,
Oh, to the
which,
Twins stadium.
well, their Twins
Oh,
stadium is
Target Field.
yeah, it's gorgeous. Like because the skylines in the background, and just like baseball in the spring in the north is just amazing because the weather's perfect. But no, we went and toured the Vikings stadium, and
Oh,
you know
how's that? That one looks cool.
yeah, it's cool. So it's like it's kind of like an interesting stadium, uniquely designed on the outside, but it's kind of like a budget in the inside. Like they created it really cheaply. There's no HVAC system, so like in the summer, if it gets too hot, they just open up the freaking doors. But it doesn't really get that hot out there. Maybe for like a week or so, it
Hmm.
might get into hundreds. But
Yeah.
when we were in there, it was kind of warm. I was like, oh, like they told us there was no HVAC system, and I was like, what? How's that
Yeah.
work?
Leave it.
But
Leave it to the Vikings to do some shit like that.
yeah, like I wonder how they get heat, because like in the wintertime, man, like it's
It
cold.
gets
Like
cold. Oh yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Just be like Green Bay.
Literally,
Don't be a puss. Don't do a
yeah,
dome. Come on.
yeah, but like my thing is like if you're gonna have a covered stadium, might as well freaking have heat. But like my thing is like Minnesota, I think is probably worse than Green Bay. Like the amount of snow they get, and then
100%. I don't even know what point you're making, but you said
yeah,
worse. Yes.
yeah,
Continue.
well, yeah, no, yeah, I got you. No, but they're like the weather itself. I think it's more extreme in
Yep.
Minnesota, like cold wise, because
Yeah.
like Wisconsin gets like getting like -10, but like I know for a fact because I live a little bit further north of Minnesota, but or
Hmm.
than Minneapolis, but man, it gets really cold here, like -20, -30, like
Yeah.
so.
Does
I
it
don't
get like
think
that
play in
in
that.
does it get like that where Minnesota plays though? Because you're in
Yeah,
North
yeah.
Dakota though.
Yeah, so
All
yeah,
right.
it's pretty similar. It's only 8 hours away from where we're at. So
Mm,
and it's latitude's pretty similar to ours. So it's like we're a little further north. But the problem
gotcha.
is out here is um it's it's flat. There's nothing at all. I mean, literally nothing. Like you go for 8 hours and it's like, no, okay, I saw a hill, and it was
Mm.
probably Minot. So
I thought
um,
driving through West Texas was bad.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
so
There's
West
nothing
Texas.
out there either.
Oh
You
yeah,
just
no.
drive and drive and drive. There's nothing but speed traps. You'd be driving
Think
70 miles an hour and then all of a sudden it drops down to 40
think
on the
about the
highway
drive.
as you go
Think
through a small town.
Oh yeah, I mean, but think about the drive going from Texas, from say Dallas to North Dakota. You go through Oklahoma and then Nebraska, and you might go through Iowa depending on how you drive there. So you go through Oklahoma, Nebraska, South Dakota, North Dakota. Think about what's in between there. Like the biggest city that you drive through is Omaha. So
Yeah.
um,
That's a pretty boring drive. I feel
yeah,
like just like an
20,
open road.
20 hours.
So they call them flyover states for a reason. So,
Yeah, I don't.
but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
uh, but that's crazy.
So I mean, my point is
It
like,
makes for a long drive too.
well, like this. So
But
that's my point is like, I think that Minnesota's smart in doing the. They already had a dome, so might as well make a better dome. And that last one collapsed, so they had to do
oh
something.
yeah, that's right. With like it was like a big snowstorm, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was
That
like
was
a
crazy.
it was one of those air bubbles, like they have them in Minot where like the football team and the track team will run in the wintertime. It's they put a
Hmm.
bubble over the football stadium, and that's what it was essentially. It was a bubble being held up by air, and then the snow got onto it and it collapsed. And then they played at the Golden Gopher Stadium
Yeah,
for
that's
a
right.
season. Yeah,
University of Minnesota for a while,
yeah, yeah.
or for
So
not a while, a season,
yeah, I think
but
just
yeah.
for a season, and then they built the new
Hmm.
stadium. But it was cool. So
Yeah.
one of the coolest parts about that stadium, they have a wall that's dedicated to all the high schools,
Hmm.
all the high school football teams in Minnesota. And
Oh,
so you
that
go
is
up,
cool.
yeah. So you go up there, and they have every helmet for every team in high school in Minnesota. And like I didn't obviously go to high school and play football in Minnesota, but I still thought it was really cool. I was like, oh, that's.
Yeah.
Could you imagine being a high school kid and be like, oh, there's my team, man? Like, heck
Yeah.
yeah. So
Is it like every school too, like from the small schools to the
yeah,
big schools?
every school,
Dude,
yeah,
that's cool.
yeah, yeah.
That
So,
would, yeah,
but
that is cool.
we'll see how this new stadium looks in LA. I think it's gonna be. I think it'll be the nicest stadium. I hate saying that because that makes me cringe because I'm not
What's the name of the stadium?
SoFi Stadium,
Okay.
like SoFi.
Yeah, yeah.
So
SoFi Lending. Let's see that.
yeah, yeah.
I see their commercials all the time. Let's
It
see.
looks like a spaceship.
Trying to find an image of it. Oh, jeez. What is
It's like
that?
clear. It's like clear on top, right?
Yeah,
It's cool, man. Like
that
there,
is cool,
I think it's like almost. It costs like almost $2 billion, like $1.5 billion or something.
dude. I believe it, man.
But you know
That's
what?
dude.
I
That's
wonder
crazy.
even if California is gonna let fans play there. You know how like, man, I don't even or go not play there, but stay like go watch the games
Fans be
there.
able to go and watch it.
Yeah, because of
Yeah,
the Ronas.
that sucks, dude. Dude, that's gonna suck if they can't like have fans there at first.
Like the
But
Rangers with their new stadium, we
hmm
haven't been able to
yeah,
go yet.
yeah, dude, it's. I'm glad though that they're all starting to think of like plans to come back and play, regardless on how they're gonna play. Because that's the good thing is everybody seems like they're trying to make an effort to come back. It's just a matter of how long do we have to wait for it, and I don't think it's gonna be too much longer because like everybody's getting antsy with it. Like
What everybody's
I don't know
realizing.
about it. I don't know about up there in North Dakota, but I feel like in Texas, like people all of a sudden just said, "Nah, fuck it, we're going out." Like I've been
Um,
going out. I've been going out more, and I've just been seeing people out like everywhere now here lately. So,
well, dude, nobody
uh,
ever stopped going out here.
no,
Yeah,
yeah,
like they shut down like businesses like where you couldn't go in, but there was obviously
yeah,
still curbside service and stuff like that.
yeah,
But like the first weekend, like the weekend after St. Patrick's Day, when everything kind of started people started freaking out.
hmm
There weren't very many cars on the road. But after that, like once like that weekend was over, people were like, whatever, I don't care. And they opened everything up 2 weeks ago, so everything's been normal. Like the only thing that's annoying is like certain places you have to wear masks, and then
yeah.
like uh like you have to be like 6 feet or whatever in line, which I kind of like at the grocery store. I like the 6 feet
hmm
thing because I don't have to be
I
close to
like the
people.
6 feet. I
So
wish, yeah, I wish it would have been that before this, because I hate when people press me when I'm at the cash register. You know what I'm talking
yeah,
about?
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah,
you're getting your change back, or you're getting your receipt back, or putting your last bags in, and
yeah,
there's that
yeah.
person that's behind you that just keeps inching and closer and closer. It's like, yo, dude, like I'm still here. Like
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
could wait on me to
I'm
finish this
finishing my
up.
transaction.
Yeah, you can wait your turn. Like,
Yeah,
but
no. So yeah,
I
I
like the
think
6 feet part.
yeah, I
But
really like. I think what everybody's starting to realize is it's less dangerous than we initially thought, and whatever like political stance you have is like all predictions that we had at the beginning were wrong. Like this was supposed to be like really bad, where like millions of people were going to die in the United States,
yeah,
and we haven't seen that. You know what I mean? And I think that I watched I told you I watched Joe Rogan and Elon Musk's podcast or whatever.
dude,
And
that was a good podcast, man.
well, but you
I
see
enjoy it.
when Joe Rogan brought up like coronavirus,
Hmm
Elon Musk looked so annoyed. He was like so over it, and then
Yeah,
he's just like, dude, he said it's not that bad, and they're like, well, what about China? And he's like, I have a plant in China that has 7,000 people, and he's like, zero people have gotten the virus there. He's like, well, can you trust statistics in China? And Elon Musk is like, yeah. He's like, I literally have 7,000 people in my plant. Nobody has it. So,
Jesus.
and he said
Yeah,
nobody's died. So,
yeah. I mean, it's yeah, like you said. I think they're just everybody's kind of realizing that it's not as bad as we initially thought. But yeah, he definitely looked annoyed with talking about that. He's just kind of over it. I feel like I think
what?
everybody is though.
What?
It seems like it's shoved down your throat every time you turn around.
Well, what was
Every
cool?
you can't watch two commercials without seeing something about it. But
What was crazy is they were having
I'm
that
I'm, I'm
conversation.
over it.
Well, they were having that conversation. I was watching that shit on YouTube, and commercial comes up. I've been watching it for an hour and a half, no commercials, and all of a sudden they start talking about coronavirus in that thing again,
Yeah,
for the second time, and commercial comes on, and it's like coronavirus commercial. I'm like, really? Like what? And
yeah,
um, the coolest thing about I was thinking about it, like he was talking about that Neuralink company that he has, where we can like enhance our brains with a
dude.
chip in our brain,
Yes.
and then he started talking about they started talking about like the symbiosis with AI, and then he's talking about his new cars that he's doing, the Roadster, and they were talking about
hmm
how fast it's going to be, and they were talking about like 1.9 seconds to 60,
Yep.
and dude, what with an
Yes.
electric car? Like
Yeah,
that's
it's gonna be
insane.
nuts. Yeah, they dude, that he's been coming up with that or been working on that one for a while because I want to say Rogan already like I could be wrong on this, but I could have swore he said that he already ordered it or he's on the list for it or something like that.
Yeah, well,
Um,
they just haven't created. Like, I think coronavirus has pushed back the timeline for them because that's what he
mm,
said. He's like, it's going to
true.
affect them several months, but I think he's got to get that Cybertruck out first.
Yeah, either that or Elon Musk just hustling everybody. I've got a weird. conspiracy about him. He's always telling us about things that are gonna, this is what's coming in the future. This is what's coming in the future. I feel like he's been saying that for a minute, and like we don't ever see a lot of it, or it's a different version of what we see. Dude, he's hustling. He's scamming everybody.
No, dude,
But
he's
no,
legit. Have
I'm
you
just
been?
playing. I'm just
Uh,
playing, man. He's got a lot of cool. I was thinking that the other day though when I was watching it, just because I was like he's always like thinking of like all these things in the future that a lot of us probably won't
well,
see. But
well,
like,
so
dude,
so
his brain is on a whole nother planet. I feel like,
yeah,
man, like as
he's
far as like
he's
how crazy smart he
he
is.
is today's Steve Jobs. So if you look at it, Steve Jobs did the same thing back then with cell phones and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
everybody had like a Razor flip phone. That was the new thing. Well, he was sitting there telling people, "Hey, we have a new phone. We have a new device that's going to change everything." And it took longer
yeah,
than expected. But what he's doing is he's pinging his people, being like, "This is when I expect it to be out, and it's going to happen." They may not even have the freaking design for it yet, but he's like wills it into existence. You know what I mean? Like he's
yeah.
like, "Oh yeah, boom." But
Dude, where he had me really tripping in that podcast the other day was whenever I sent you that clip where he was talking about how you can, it's like a insert some connection of some sort. I can't remember what exactly it is. He said that it's still kind of up to be like the way it's going to look is still up to be determined, right? But the object of it is you would insert it, it goes into your nervous system, and he's saying that you could even start to restore limb functionality.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
was
the
thinking,
Neuralink.
dude, I'm like, oh man, dude, that would be nuts.
Yeah.
Just thinking of like what that could do to like help people recover from like real bad injuries, or like even like military coming back over that maybe had some really bad injuries, like regaining some of that functionality. Like
Well,
that's
well,
that's crazy if that actually like happens. I mean, obviously he's still working on it, but
well, think
it'd
about
be
this.
cool when that does. That's nuts to think about.
Think about this. Like, so he's talking about like this, this essentially like neuron chip that has wires that go to your brain in different spots, like you said, like a limb that needs to be repaired,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what he was saying. That would be the first like rendition of it, and he said
Yeah.
that it can be like, as it goes on, as it progresses, it's going to develop into this thing, kind of like Iron Man, like how he has the
Mm-hmm.
helmet. Like, I think what I see it being is like, if you can fix limb function because your brain is like telling your body, hey, the limb is going to work and we're going to send electrical signals to it. Why can't you do that for, say, a virus? Like, think about this. Like, your brain is telling your body when a virus attacks it that there's something wrong, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
the people that die from these viruses, their body overreacts because their body's not been put through anything and the immune system is weak. What if the Neuralink could tell your brain, hey, there's a virus here, but we're not going to overreact. We're not going to fill the lungs up with fluid. We're going to do it the right way. Like, you know what I mean? Like, heat your body up and then let it go. Like, what if that could repair people's immune systems? I don't
Dude,
see why it couldn't.
that that would be crazy. I think the possibilities are endless. Even just like you're saying there with like medical wise, but I just think like
You
in
have super
general, like
athletes.
yeah, like you're gonna know immediately, like by looking at something, this is good or not for me to put in my body, right? For
Yeah,
this training purpose,
it's like
without
Terminator
really
shit.
even, yeah, dude, that's crazy. That is totally a sci-fi movie from the '90s,
Yeah,
right
yeah,
there.
100%.
But it's real life for him. Like it's so weird.
You know what's funny about him is they were talking about communication and how it may turn into this like where you just look at somebody and you just communicate.
They just kind of know what you're thinking, type deal.
Yeah,
Like,
and Joe
dude, I don't
Rogan.
know about that. I don't want people knowing the fuck I'm thinking, man.
So Joe Rogan, I think you have to send an impulse to them or something, send a signal,
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
Joe Rogan literally makes his money off of communication, right? So
Yeah.
everything he does is based off of him being an effective communicator. Think about it.
Yeah.
Being an announcer on UFC, being a podcaster, being a comedy guy, all communication in different styles, right? He's so good
Yeah.
at being dynamic. And then Elon Musk, if you look at him and when he talks, like he looks like the part, like he could talk, and he starts talking, and you're like, what are you saying? Like, like
Yeah.
he is so intellectual and so in his thoughts, it's hard for him to almost communicate that. I think he
Yeah.
wants that because he knows his brain is superior to others. And so if you take the piece that he's not superior to, he just becomes like this, like figure, like this dude that just is
Yeah.
smarter than everybody and has no flaws. You know what I mean? I don't
Yeah,
know.
and I think he like so I think he can't understand either why like Rogan was so surprised and like caught off guard at the fact that he was like, "Oh, you still want to be able to talk to people?" Because like Rogan's like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, like why would I want to lose that?" And he was like, "No, like you'll understand. Like it'll be better one day without it." And Rogan's like, and it was like the two of them just did not see eye to eye with that. They just couldn't understand each other's side on that. I feel like as far as like wanting to be able to talk, still wanting to like not have to like at all.
I
But
think
Musk
talking is
wasn't the greatest of like talkers, so I could see that could be why he wanted to. Like his
yeah,
like he's very well thought out, but when he talks, he's kind of like da, da, like he doesn't communicate very well. So
yeah, and he when he has a thought that he really is passionate about, he talks much better on it. Like when he
yeah,
was talking about coronavirus, he I hate calling it coronavirus, whatever it is, COVID-19. Whenever he was talking about it, he uh he would sit and stop, and he's like, you can tell he wanted to just rage talk about it, just be like
mm,
these MFers that, but he like sat there and talked about it and was like, yeah, I guess. You're like, okay, he doesn't care about this topic. Like he does care, but he's
yeah,
over talking about it. I think that
yep.
I think
I think he
he
represents actually a lot of people regarding that. Like surprisingly, like that's probably not one of his most like intellectual thoughts. That's probably just like what a vast majority of America feels like. They're over talking about it, you know?
yeah, yeah.
But
And but I think that people are over talking about it, but they still want to hear about it. Like it's one of
mhm.
those like it's like it's like a song that goes viral, and you're like, I heard this song every day, but you still listen to it. Why? Like what's that song that came out when we were in college? Fetty Wap, whatever. Like
Oh,
I
she my
can't.
trap
Yeah,
queen.
yeah. But remember that song came out? It got overplayed,
Oh,
and
always.
but
That's
we
every big
still,
song.
but we still listen to it. We're like, oh, this
Yep.
song's annoying, but I was like, but everybody wants to listen to it, so
It was
cool.
annoying, but it was always played at every party.
Yeah,
Like
right,
you
exactly.
would never sit there and just listen to it by yourself because like you're annoyed by it. But
Yeah,
like
yeah. I think
the party, it got played still.
I think the virus is the same way. You know what I mean? Like people are just like I I think people are over the lies, and people are over like literally the BS about it. People are just wanting people want facts,
Cut the
and that's all I want.
BS.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, and they were talking about news, like who do you listen to that has facts anymore? Like nobody. You know what I mean? Everybody's got to spin. They
I
spin
don't
it.
even know. Like, yeah, like
Yeah,
I can't tell it. They could not be spinning it one day, and I would be like, "Oh, they're spinning it," because I have no
yeah,
clue.
yeah,
Like, I have
absolutely.
no clue. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't watch that shit because I get tired of listening to them.
yeah. Oh,
They like
same ones.
I don't know. I don't know who to listen to, who not to.
Half the time
But
I post a story like on Facebook, I'm just trolling people. I don't even care anymore.
oh,
Like,
100%, 100%,
like,
dude. And dude, have you been seeing these damn Joe Biden clips with him
yeah,
on the damn news?
that
Like,
was
I'm not
terrible.
saying like one party or other. I'm for neither party, but it's just so funny like watching him like
Poor
with
guy.
these videos. Yeah, dude, like I feel bad for the guy. Like
Hmm.
he looks like he is like developing like some type of like Alzheimer's of some sort out there. I mean, I could be wrong on it, but I mean, I'm not a doctor, but he literally seems like he doesn't know what fucking day it is sometimes when he's talking on these shows. And then
Yeah,
he just says all this random shit just out of nowhere and he pulls these crazy numbers. Like the other day he was like 800 million, 800 billion trillion, like saying all
yeah,
this. I was like, what is going on with this guy? Like
yeah,
they're
yeah,
parading him around. I'm like, as their candidate, I'm like, there's no way they're gonna win this election ever.
yeah, yeah,
Not with who they got going on. They got a guy that is barely holding it together right now. You know.
yeah, yeah. I don't know, man. Like,
Anyways,
yeah.
that's my rant on that. Sorry to drift into the land of politics, but I just thought it was
What's a politic? I never heard of
yeah.
it.
Who's that?
No, so I wanted to get into a little something about kind of like a little bit of a segue from what we were talking about.
Hmm.
Obviously, right now we don't have any sports. Like we have UFC, right? So
Yeah.
the Korean Baseball League started. I think I don't know how that's going, um, but so baseball, right? So the MLB was talking about July being the season opener, and then June being spring training. Um, and then I was reading I think it was Instagram or Twitter. I think it's Instagram. Bryce Harper posted a picture, and the picture basically he said he gave options for the MLB that would be pretty cool. So I'm gonna read it off to you. Tell me what you think about this.
Okay.
Um, so quoted from Bryce Harper: baseball season, beyond the health and safety, which comes first for all players, staff, workers, fans, and families. Just an idea I've been thinking about. East/West, like the NBA. July 31st, July 31 days, August 31 days, September 30 days, October 31, November 15, 135 games. Off day every 2 weeks on a Monday and Sunday, double header 7 innings. 30 players, 6-man rotation, save arms, infield. If pitchers wanted this, or okay, hold on, sorry. It's really like choppy. Save arms if pitchers wanted this. It's no big deal. DH and any other possible ideas. Playoffs, 2 week World Series like Super Bowl week. 10 teams, round robin format, College World Series kind of style at the new Texas Stadium or whatever stadiums are best. 3 game series. You win the series, you move on. You lose, you play the other loser in a 1 game wild card. Winner of that moves on, other team is out. Or you could play it in Vegas so you have the strip hotels and could use one hotel for all the guys and contain possibly. Two teams left, 7 game World Series. They get 2 days off before the series. With those 2 days off, you could do an all-star game and home run derby. Could do the MLB awards as well at that time. Open this up on all platforms, no blackouts. Open it for everybody to watch. And then he's like, then you back up season the next 2 years, May 1st, 2021, April 1st, 2022. Maybe I'm crazy, just fun to think about and throw around ideas.
Dude, I like it. I like the idea of it. One, because I like any idea that brings back sports, but I really like the idea because I like the idea of the multiple inning games and also like having all of them in the or multiple inning the multiple game days, the double headers. I like that. I like the East West. I mean, you kind of already have that. You have American League, National League. So I don't really know. I get that. Yeah, I get. Well, I guess you
It
take out
helps
the
travel.
divisions. You take out the divisions. I see what he's saying now because
Yeah.
they I forget they don't have the divisions anymore in NBA. But you
No, they
take
have
them out.
divisions in NBA. They're just
Do they?
based on they're just based on region. So
Oh,
like
okay.
a division for the NBA would be like the Mavericks, Spurs, Rockets, New
Right.
Orleans,
But the standings don't go
Oklahoma
by that.
City. Well, no, so um,
The standings are East West,
yeah,
right?
there's the standings are East West. But
That's what I'm
what happens
saying.
is the division signifies how many times you're playing somebody. So you play your division more often because of region. Like you're closer to those teams,
Yeah.
so you don't have to travel as much. Does that make
Correct,
sense?
correct. Yeah, no. I'm following you. But I like the East West option there. I really like the idea too of bringing it to Texas. I would definitely go to some of the games there at Globe Life if they did that. That'd be cool. Um, New stadium, knew that, or even split it up amongst stadiums. You don't have to. I don't see why you have to have it all at one stadium. You can, I get what he's saying for containment purposes, but I don't see why you can't do like maybe, four different stadiums and have, half of the East at one of the stadiums, half of the East at the other stadium. Well, I don't know. Having them all together works too, I guess. But I guess they would play baseball all day long during this time, though, because you'd have to get all the games in.
Yeah.
Dude, I would like that. That would be cool. Anytime you turn on the TV during the day, boom, baseball game.
Well, so for me, I love it because it kind of brings some electricity to baseball that it needs.
Yeah.
But what my idea would be like, yeah, it'd be cool to play in a big stadium, and I think maybe for the World Series you could do that. But I think
Mm-hmm.
what you should do is utilize like Arizona that has a low virus contraction rate or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
Um, use the spring training stadiums because it's freaking gorgeous out there, and you can have some fans. Maybe you could do like a selection of fans, and they could go out and they could sit on the lawn, um,
Or
and
sell so many seats, like,
yeah,
and
yeah,
spread them out.
yeah.
Like, you can only buy, you know, you put seats 4 together, or you can only buy them every 4 seats or something like that.
Well, and think about this, like yeah, you could do the stands. The stands gonna have minimal or whatever. But like the cool thing about like spring training stadiums is they all have like the big grass field behind like an old
Mm-hmm.
like like a minor
Yep.
league stadium.
Yep.
People tend to not sit next to each other in the lawn. You know what I mean? Like they get a
Yep.
blanket and they spread out
Spread
and
out and chill.
yeah. And I
Let the
think
kid
that
run around and you're good.
play baseball there and televise it like he said. I think that's a great idea. Don't black it out. I think everybody deserves to watch baseball. Baseball is the hardest sport to watch during the season because it's so regional. Like
Mm-hmm.
you can watch the Yankees, you can watch the Red Sox, and watch the Dodgers. Everybody else is kind of like, well, if you get to see them, you get to see them. Like me, I can't watch the Rangers ever. Like
Yep.
maybe once they're on ESPN with the Red Sox or the Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
Like last year, I maybe watched 2 games. Like I can't like regional. It sucks. And hockey I think is very similar, but like and the NBA is not so bad. I think
They still
because
got it kind of too. Like
yeah,
even
but I watched well, I guess the Mavericks are a little bit more popular, but
well, the
like
Mavs are getting popular because of Luca
yeah,
and Porzingis there.
yeah, and I guess and I guess the Lakers are in the West, so it helps the Mavericks. Every time the Lakers are going to play, they're going to be on prime time. Um, But like NFL, dude, you can literally watch every game.
Yep.
So and then like obviously UFC is all centered like one event, which is super nice.
Mm-hmm.
But like MLB, man, it's hard to watch. They got their like MLB pass, but it costs like $200. I'm like,
Yep.
dude, I'm not doing that.
No, not at all. Yeah, that it definitely is regional because now that I think about it, obviously I watch a lot of the Rangers because I'm in Texas here in North Texas. But even if you just go to South Texas, you no longer get the Rangers, you
Get
get
the
the Astros.
Astros.
Yeah. So yeah,
banging,
barf.
banging trash
Yeah,
cans and stuff.
I'd rather watch Nick Jr.
Dang. All right. R.I.P.
Little Bill, bro.
Little Bill. Yeah. No, so that's I mean it's definitely interesting and I think LeBron I was reading that LeBron's trying to get NBA restarted. Like he's like getting a bunch of players together and trying to figure that out. Like, hey, um I think that I think that we need to get, the NBA back started. I think the NBA is in a lucky spot because they can kind of play whenever they want. Um there's no like restriction because basketball's indoors, regardless of where it is. They're kind of lucky, but nobody wants. So the problem is nobody wants to play in the fall because they know NFL wins everything. Like their ratings go down. They don't have practice. Like they don't want to. They don't want to
They
share.
don't want to compete with them.
They don't want to share airtime, and that's why like nobody listens or watches the NBA in October, November, December, and even January. People are like, "Well, there's NFL football," and then it picks up. Then it's like, okay, now we're
Hmm.
good. And NBA, NHL, they get the rating shares back, and then we're watching until June. But NFL owns all airspace on Sundays, so
100%. And on Monday nights and on Thursday nights.
and sometimes
Like,
Saturdays.
yeah. Sometimes
uh,
8:30 in the morning on a Sunday when they play overseas.
I'm still
But
upset about the XFL, man. Like that hurts. Like
yeah, dude,
I
that
was
sucks that they
enjoying
went
the
under.
crap out of those games.
Yeah, I knew that was gonna happen though, man. Like I think I told you as soon as they broke the news that it was spinning, I was like, oh, they're done, dude. They're
Mm-hmm.
done. Like, there's no way they bounce back from that. Like, obviously, I mean, we were hoping for it because they had Vince McMahon backing it, so therefore they got a lot of money invested into it. So we were hopeful, but dude,
So my question,
it's hard to bounce back your first year. Your first couple years, you're losing money anyways.
My
You
question for
know.
you is: have you seen all these like colleges have like suspended operations like indefinitely for the fall in California
No, like what?
specifically?
Like, as
So,
in, they're not enrolling back in, or they're just
well,
like doing online, or what?
no. So like California State said that they will not have fall classes. Now I'm thinking about it. Does California State? They don't have any big football teams, but if other teams, say in California, follow suit, there's some big football teams in California:
USC,
USC, Cal,
UCLA.
UCLA. Yep, San Diego State. Um, those teams.
Mm-hmm.
How does that
Damn.
affect the landscape for the NCAA? Like for football,
That people are losing a team off their schedule right there.
yeah, and I think the majority of viewership for the for college football in California is USC, and then I think the
Mhm.
majority of viewership for college football in general is the SEC. So I think if the SEC can survive
Yeah.
and play their games, I think that college football will be okay in Division One football.
I
But
think the
if
SEC is going to be fine
yeah, because
because
like the South doesn't
they've
give
got
a
a lot
shit.
of this. Yeah, yeah, I was about to say they've got a lot of these southern schools in the South. Like, there's some South states that like have not even issued like a shelter, like not one shelter in place order. They're just like, oh, you know,
Well,
we'll
Georgia,
put it. A lot of the people down south say the same thing. Oh well, it's in God's hands.
yeah,
Like
well,
I
yeah.
mean, it's one of those deals, man. Like it. I don't know. The southern states, they don't give a shit.
Well,
So
I think that Southern states, I think that people down there, which I 100% align with, I think that they look at it as this my choice whether or not I go
mhm.
outside and go do things, and if I
Yeah,
die, I'm taking the risk. Like and I think that you should, as Americans, we should have
I
that.
think you should be able to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that SEC, if they play, the college football will be fine. But if they don't,
Oh,
I think I think the NCAA's football Division One can survive without every other division
mhm.
except for the SEC. I don't know.
Now the
Like,
only thing
does that
is,
sound crazy?
I don't think it's crazy at all because you have, I mean, just think about how many players just went to the NFL from LSU alone, just that one
Right.
school alone. You know what I
Yep.
mean? So I don't think it's crazy at all because I mean the level of competitive play that goes on in the SEC, I think, I mean, it'll be enough to sustain college football for a year if they have
Well,
to. Now, one thing I do worry about though is, even though they are, it's the SEC, it's the Southern, it's the Southern schools that are in this conference, and they're probably a lot of these states are very conservative. They're going to let you make that decision to go out or not. The only thing is though, even though they're in conservative states, a lot of these schools are
or
still
liberal.
very much like liberal, left leaning, and they're like, no, we need to stay in, shut it down. So even
All
though
right.
they're in these states, they still may not play either because of just depending on who's in charge at the schools.
But think about this. These
But that's
schools,
a lot of money that those schools are going to be losing.
but think
And
about Alabama. So college football, actually, collegiate athletics, only like 25 schools ish, give or take every year. But the top 25 schools make money on collegiate athletics, and they
Mhm.
don't make money on other. Like, I think there's only a few basketball programs that make money. It's like the Dukes and North Carolinas, Kentuckies, right?
Yeah.
And then the rest of the schools take money out. They have different sources of money. So it comes from like a student fee. It comes from endowments. It comes from donations given from alumni, things like that. But like the top 25 schools that make money are the top 25 football programs. And I'm not talking about like AP poll 25. I'm talking about like the Ohio State, the Michigan, the Alabama, the Auburn,
UTs.
those schools, A&M, they make money for collegiate athletics solely on their football team. Everything else is a
100%.
wash.
Yep.
So I, I,
100%.
I mean, I 100% did a research project on this in college, and because I was a sports management major, we talked about this, and that was the argument against paying players was, do you realize only certain schools make money on these
Mhm.
programs? Everything else is like given out to these people, like them. The fact that they even give scholarships out is crazy because they're just losing money. Like literally, like they're not getting a profit. Every burger you buy, every T-shirt you get at A&M Commerce is just going in the hole. You know what I mean? Like it's
100%.
like you think that stadium's making money? How much money they're putting out to travel, to outfit those dudes, to pay the coaches? Like, come
They
on.
don't even charge students to get into the game out there.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
you
Exactly.
flash your student ID, you're in for
Well,
free. Like,
you pay a
even
student
even the
fee.
big well, yeah, that's true, I guess, yeah. But it gets included to all the games. You go to, like, A&M, you only get like tickets like in years like a couple games from what I heard. I don't know how exactly it works, but from what I hear is you pick out like which ones you want to go to, and it'll charge you a certain amount, kind of like that student fee that we have.
Yeah,
But
exactly. But like, so like Commerce just increased their student fee from $5 to $10, and it's supposed to build that arena. So like where the
arena,
and this is for like all my A&M Commerce buddies, and I think KG may know more about it because he's been there longer, or been there more recently than I. But so basically, the plan that I looked at was where the grandstand is, the really crappy grandstand that's from 1920 or whatever, for Memorial Stadium. It's not Memorial Stadium anymore. I don't know the guy's name. I think it's Ernest Hawkins or something. And across the
yeah, I believe you're
stadium
right.
is that little like they built that like visitor section
Yeah.
across. So that was built in 2011 or 2010 because they didn't have it when I was in high school. And so basically that parking lot behind there that
Hmm.
backs up to those little apartments over there that Jeremy built
Yeah.
um, is where they're talking about putting this arena. So basically they would keep the field house as like a storage place, or they
Hmm.
would destroy it. But they're gonna put like a American. I think they're going off of the event center, Allen Event Center style, and it'll basically connect to that that visitor stadium, and they would create like a basketball arena that'll be for graduations and all that kind of thing. So that's like their next big project, and I think that they had to get over the hump of getting a new student athletic fee. um kind of
They they redid that one time whenever we were there, right? Where they redid the feed.
that was
They did
for
like that referendum or something like that.
that was
Wasn't
for
is that the same thing?
that was for the rec center. So
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
and the fee was more. I was literally on the committee for it where I would
I
speak
know
to.
that's why I asked you. I was like, I
Yeah,
know
yeah.
he's gonna know this.
Yeah, so I don't remember what the fee was so long ago, like 5 years ago, 6 years ago. But
Remember it, damn it.
yeah, but basically what that does, man, if you think about it, every person pays a fee every semester that they're enrolled in school. And so whatever the referendum was, man, I cannot remember. I think it's like $60 a semester or something like that. Think about $60 a semester times um 15,000 students times 2 for a year, right? So each semester, say you don't go to summer school, say you don't go to
1.8 mil.
yeah, so perfect. That's $2 million extra that they're getting on top of whatever like other fees that they're getting as well. So and then whatever like money that A&M is giving them. So if you think about it, $2.8 million for the
One
next or $1.8 million, $1.8 million for the next 5 years can give you a little under 10 million for whatever project you want to do. So like they had phases, like, all right, we're gonna get, I think it's more than 60, man. I think it was like 100 something, but like each phase, you built the mat court where they have the outdoor
Mhm.
stuff, and then in the next phase, they're gonna add on to the rec center wing, and then the next phase was um whatever, like it's like endless, and this money is just going to keep adding, and they'll just do another referendum. And the same thing happened for the student fee. Was for the athletics fee was we are paying $5, I think, for that referendum, and they just doubled it, you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I think though the way that they're getting that money for that athletic event center is using it as graduation ceremony, so now the school can pull from a different pot of money.
They have a benefit for it.
Yeah, I mean they
Other
built
than
that brand new Health and Human Performance Center nursing building with the dorms and
oh, that's
stuff,
right. Yeah,
dude.
is that nice?
So
Have
I
you
haven't.
seen it?
I saw it in construction. I think when I went
Okay.
last year. But yeah, it's gonna be gorgeous, man. Like it's gorgeous right now. Like I saw a video of it or whatever. That would have been where I went to school. And it's like I just missed that by 2 years.
Yeah. Dude, I've been meaning to get back out there to see it. They got the golf tournament coming up. I'm debating on going out to it. I'm not gonna play, but I may just go out and hang out. But
I would totally go play if I was allowed to leave the local area.
I just don't want to drop $100 right now, but I would definitely do it. Um, but I may end
Stupid
up. I don't know.
virus.
And I don't think I have enough people to play with on a team. I think everybody's kind of on a team. I'd have to find somewhere to fill in. But dude, all the stuff that they're building out there is crazy. But
Yeah.
they've got the new like just fraternity stuff for us. They got that new house for the fraternity that went up. Then they got the have you seen the parking lot there?
Yeah, yeah.
It's like super paved. I was like, oh man. Dude, like our cars would have like lasted so much longer if we would have had that parking lot.
yo,
Like
like,
just
yeah, that was I had that Jeep, so it would go over those potholes no problem. And when you had your
I did well
Forerunner,
in the Forerunner. I
yeah,
did well in the Forerunner. It was when I got the Lancer, I would scrape
Dunk.
like we'd go over it like because it was. I mean, these potholes were huge.
I remember
Like I would scrape.
I feel like Bryce and his little Mercedes would go over it, and I was like, oh no, he's gonna get stuck. But like, I think it's so cool to see the development. Like, I remember when I would
Yeah,
go in front of dudes and I'd be like, hey, like, rush Sigma Chi because we're gonna get this house. And I had like the development, this the signs, and it takes so many years. And you keep saying it's kind of like the Elon Musk thing. You're like, hey, this is gonna come. We just don't know
yeah.
when. Like, I mean, that's
It was
kind of
pitched
how
to
it.
us whenever we went through Rush. That's what was so crazy about it. It just took so long, but it finally got done. It's or almost done. So, but
I like the way it looks. I think it's a gorgeous building. It just looks really big. Like it looks, it's almost too big for that lot. Like,
like the house
yeah,
itself.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
it definitely took away that front yard, and the front yard was kind of where
RIP
we. Yeah, that was where a lot of the stuff went down, man.
the
But at the
shenanigans.
same time, I kinda like it because if I believe they're like fencing it all in type deal, kind of making like a little compound from what I'm aware of. At least that was the
Yeah.
vision when we were there. I don't know if that's
Well,
what they're
if
actually
if
doing.
they put the
If they
basketball
did
hoop,
that, that would be dope.
if they put a basketball hoop in that parking lot, I'm gonna go out there and ball up some kids, man. Like,
Yes,
old man
dude.
style, grown
Yeah,
up style.
yeah. If your orders get moved out here by like homecoming, we got to make a appearance out there because I believe it'd be like within your range of drive time.
Oh yeah,
So
dude.
depending on that's of course if you get where you're hopefully
Yeah, we'll see.
wanting to go.
But yeah, so it's things are looking up in commerce. I hope that they're able to kick the season off. The football season
Yeah,
specifically.
all colleges,
Yeah,
kick that off. No problem. College and professional.
I just want them to treat it like the flu, right? Like
Yeah,
okay, like the flu is way more contractable than this virus is. Like was it
mm,
60 to 70 million people get the flu every year, and we don't shut
yeah.
down anything. So
And there's a vaccine for it, and people don't get it.
yeah,
So
exactly. Like I'm
like,
forced to get it, but like
I
like
get it.
yeah.
I've never not gotten it, and my mom works in the medical field, so therefore, like, she's always made me get that shit growing up, and I've just always got. I think the only times I've never gotten a flu shot was when we lived in Commerce.
Yeah.
It's because
But
I was
speaking of basketball,
studying too hard to go get one. That's what it was.
yeah, you're at studying. uh, studying that beer can label. um, just kidding. So speaking of basketball, you watched the last season or last episodes of Last Dance?
Dude, yeah. Dude, it's getting intense, man. Like seeing like what MJ was doing to elevate his team to where he needed them to be, like, and how tough that dude was at practice, man.
Didn't they say he
Dude.
he told Horace Grant he couldn't eat after he played bad?
Yeah, yeah, he told me, yeah, and then like they'd be back there drinking beer sometimes, and he'd be like, "Yeah, like I don't know why you're drinking beer, like you only scored 4 points, like or something like that," and then when they were at the All-Star game, he even told them then, he was like, "Oh yeah, if he missed the ball or if he missed 2 shots, I ain't passing him the ball no more." Like, but
Mm,
then like he would like talk shit to people at practice, like he would get in their ass, man. And then like he'd be sitting there fuck, what player was it? I don't remember which one it was, but he was sitting there and the guy shooting free throws, he's like, "Make that free throw, ho. Make that free
yeah,
throw, ho." And
yeah,
it's like, dude, like man, a lot. There's been like the argument that's been coming out, man, like that MJ is low key a bully. I don't believe it, but I mean, I think
yeah.
he is just
So
tough,
what? He
tough
got
love.
6 rings.
Yeah, exactly. And but yeah, man, that and I think that's what separates him too from the LeBron debate, man. Just due to the fact that, like, just watching him the way he is with his teammates, LeBron's not that way. He doesn't like, if his one of his teammates messes up, he doesn't step to him like how MJ would step to his teammates and be like, "Hey, get your shit together," or, and he'd get off in their ass in practice or whatever the case may be. Like, but at the same time, MJ was never asking them to do anything that he himself was not doing as well. But like, I feel like LeBron doesn't do that. Like, he'll call out players on his team, but he'll do it like in the media. MJ did that shit behind closed doors,
So for
you know?
me, so for me, I think that to each their own. I think LeBron's effective in whatever he does as well. I think that LeBron, I think LeBron definitely wants to be more liked, and I think that's the culture of basketball today.
Yeah.
They grow up in like a AAU style. They're all buddies. They all hang out in their off time. They wasn't like that back then, man. You even talk. They even talk about how the Dream Team was like a big rivalry until they started playing together at the U.S. complex or whatever. Um,
Mhm.
then then they became friends after that. Like they weren't friends before that. You know what I mean? So um, I think that the culture is different. I think that um, like the generation, like the time period, even now is different. Like if you were to say some shit like that now, man, people will get so upset and butthurt and they try to quit. And I think that
Yeah.
people were more resilient back then. But I watched this video. It was showing clips of like Jalen Rose and I can't remember the other players, but basically they're like, how many points a game would Jordan score if he were to play in today's game? And they all said 50. Like every single one of them, like, oh, I think like 50 points a game. And then I watched this guy. He has like a documentary style video that he made that he went to like a statistical analysis approach on Jordan if he were to play in today's game, and he explained how the defenses were different and how the average NBA score was so many points lower and his share of the points was so much higher. Um, and then talking about the fouls and talking about all that stuff, and he said realistically, I don't see Jordan scoring 50 points a game because Jordan wasn't an ISO basketball player. He could be, and he would do just fine. But he, especially towards the end of his career, he played for the betterment of the team. He would pass the ball and he would dish the ball. And maybe when he like first started, he would have been higher scoring. But like Jordan would have
Mhm.
played within the confines of the game. So he said I realistically could see Jordan averaging 40 to 43 points a game, and that made more sense to me. But the way he explained it is Jordan shoots different than every single person does now. So Jordan goes up and he comes down and shoots. So he like has the
Mhm.
hang time that nobody does that. So like
Yeah.
if you watch him, he gets hit and he turns, he gets hit again. He turns, he's still in the air, and then he flicks it up and it goes in. Nobody does that. Like LeBron, I think could play in the old era very well. I don't think he would be as effective as today, but he couldn't get bullied as easily because he's so big. But Jordan would 100% he would 100% um, benefit from today's game because if you think about it, in the 90s and the 80s, big men could camp in the lane and not move. Now they have defensive three, so you have to go in and out of the lane.
Mhm.
Big dudes would camp in the lane. Have you seen how big David Robinson is? Have you seen how big those guys are? Like they
Giants.
would camp. They would camp, and Jordan would go to the hoop, and he would hack their asses. Like he would throw him to the ground. Now that lane is open a lot more often than it used to be. Can
Mhm.
you imagine Jordan with an open lane every time? Dude, it'd be nuts.
It wouldn't even be fair, man. Um, to give him that much space because he was able to do so much with such little space,
And
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 just
he
like,
was getting hand
y-
checked the whole time. Like people are
yeah,
putting their hands on his hips, forcing him one way or the other. You
yeah.
can't do that anymore.
Yeah, and dude, just seeing like these highlights of him whenever he goes up to the like, say he drives in and goes for some layup, there's some big dude in the lane. Just watching him like contort his body and twist and turn and spin just to get that, just to be able to get the shot off without getting blocked by this giant dude. Because I mean, obviously, like MJ wasn't the biggest of guys. He didn't
Yeah,
have like LeBron size on him,
yeah,
and so just like the like. this skill that he had to be able to just, contort to be able to get, a shot off and then still make it. It was just
You know
mind blowing,
who
man.
would not be as good of a player in back then as he is now is I think Kevin Durant. I think that
I agree.
he would have to gain some weight. Like I think Kevin Durant's one of the most prolific scorers we've ever seen.
Hmm.
I think he would be a sole 100% just a perimeter shooter. I think that
Yep.
he would get destroyed in the lane.
He would be like a Ray Allen back then, just corner three, corner
An
three,
old
corner
Ray
three.
Allen. Like
Yeah, old Ray. Yeah,
not a
not early on in his career, Ray Allen.
yeah,
Old
not Jesus
Miami
Shuttlesworth.
Heat finals, Ray Allen.
Yeah, not
You
Jesus
know.
Shuttleworth, Ray Allen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, KD. Like I like KD a lot. Like he's one of my favorite players in the league right now. But I think he would get bullied, dude, if he went up. Like he would they would get under his skin, they'd get in his head. Like he wouldn't be able to handle it. He can't even handle Draymond Green calling him a bitch on the sideline. I don't think he'd be able to handle 80s and 90s basketball.
You imagine
Like,
Rodman just hacking his ass or Bill
oh
Laimbeer
dude,
or something.
dude, yeah. That
Bill
yeah.
Laimbeer was just waiting to eat Jordan's lunch. Like you could see it every
Mhm.
time Jordan went up. He was
In
like
his eyes
throwing him
every
up
time.
every time. It was
Yeah.
like even
Dude, how
Isaiah
about
Thomas.
that Knicks battle though?
Oh
Like,
yeah,
so
yeah,
you
yeah.
defeat you defeat the bad boys, and then what comes around like not too long after that,
Yeah.
another version of them in the Knicks. Like, dude, that
Not as
was
good
crazy
though.
too. Seeing that. Yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously not as good. They're like a poor man's version of the bad boys, you know.
And
So
poor Patrick Ewing. I think that he would have been even. He's still an all time great, but like they
uh,
didn't win shit because of the Bulls. And then like
there's so many players that are great players that didn't win anything because they played in the same
the
era as Michael Jordan.
Supersonics didn't win shit. They were a good team. The one that really sucks, I think that they deserve something was the Jazz. Like Karl Malone and John Stockton. Like
Hmm.
Karl Malone led the league in points scored 1 year, and like they were just balling.
One of the
And
best big men to ever play the
yeah,
game, and then you
yeah,
have one of the best
point
passers,
guards.
the game's ever seen. But yeah, true point guard,
Yeah.
that the game's ever seen.
And then the
You know,
Rockets got super lucky. Like those 2 seasons that Jordan took off, they're
mhm.
like, all right, we're gonna win.
Yep,
Like
yeah. They
cool.
they they saw the moment and they capitalized.
Mhm.
But
So what? So do you think if Jordan would have ended his career with the Bulls and not played with the Wizards, do you think his legacy is elevated? Do you think he ruined?
mm,
Do you think he ruined his legacy at all by going to the Wizards, or do you think
I
that
don't think
it
so.
doesn't matter?
I don't think so, dude. Dude, 6 for 6. It
Yeah,
didn't matter what the
yeah,
hell he did after
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
The only thing I think, man, about this whole thing is I think it's a damn shame he had to go to the Wizards. Like,
The Bulls are they
dude,
were terrible. That Kraus dude, horrible.
I don't know what the hell they were thinking. You have this team that has won 6 champions. Now, I'll give it to you that he took off some time. Y'all didn't win during that time, but you almost won a championship in the year after he took his little layoff. But my thing is just like you have this team that's won you 6 championships, and you just decide we're gonna nuke this team. We're just gonna wipe everything out and start completely over.
No more Phil Jackson, no more Scottie Pippen, no more MJ. Like what?
Yeah.
Like the disrespect on Scottie Pippen is upsetting. Like,
Oh, 100%, dude. They never paid that man anything that he was deserved
but
at all.
he did get paid when he went to the Trailblazers.
Oh, for sure.
And did he?
But
Where else did he go? Somewhere I can't remember. Maybe just the Trailblazers. I don't know. He got paid though. When he went to the Trailblazers. He played with
either way, though, like he should have never
yeah.
had it. They should have rode that bus till the damn wheels fell off. I would have. Any GM that broke that up, he should have been fired on the spot. And the fact that the owner went along with it is
It reminds me a little bit of the Warriors. Like I don't think that that Warriors team is as good as like the Jordan teams, but I think they were like pretty damn close. Like they
I mean,
were
they had a 72 win season.
they were literally unbeatable. Like I think that the Warriors would have been the best one of the best teams in the league if Steph and Clay don't get hurt. You know what I mean? Like because
Mhm.
they were terrible this year, but like I think that with those two players, the element they bring to the you can't guard them. Like Okay, guard them at 3-point line. They're gonna beat you off the ball. Okay, guard them like you're blocking down. Like you give them any space, and they're gonna shoot threes in your face. Like
100%.
I
Yeah.
think that we'll see the Warriors be really good next year.
Yeah. You give Steph any room from within half court,
Yeah.
and he has the potential to make any
LeBron
of those
better watch
shots.
out, man, because those Warriors are going to come back with a vengeance, and
Mhm.
I think they'll be the number one team. I, that sounds crazy just saying it out loud, but I think they'll be the number one team next year. I think that they're
The
going to take
Warriors?
the yeah.
That's a bold prediction, my friend.
I,
I don't think so, man. Dude, I'm kind of on the Clippers bandwagon. I want to see them do good. I want to see Kawhi and Paul George. I really like Paul George, man. I've always been a fan of his ever since he played at the Pacers. Like
but with
it sucks with Paul George because like he at if you think about it, at one time Paul George was like the number 3 player in the league, man. It was LeBron, KD, Paul George, but then he snapped his leg playing for Team USA, and ever since then, I mean, he's been a great player still, but obviously not number 3 player in the league great. But I'd like to see him get back to like where he was at, and then with Kawhi there, and then maybe throw a third person in that piece, like in
they
this
got Pat
upcoming
Bev.
offseason. Woo! That'd
So
be a crazy team.
I'm not saying the Clippers are not good. I think that they'll be the number one top 2 teams. Um, I think the Clippers, like Kawhi Leonard's a beast, and they beat who did they beat? Who did the Raptors beat? Was it the Warriors?
Who?
Did the Raptors beat the Warriors in the finals? Who'd they beat in the finals?
This last year?
Yeah,
Uh,
don't remember. I think it was. I think it was the Warriors.
I want was it I think it was the Warriors because I think that's when Klay Thompson went down.
Yeah. I think it was. So I think, man, it was a close series. Okay. I take what you said. I think the Clippers will be better, but the Warriors are going to be the Warriors are written off now, and I think that's where they're going to sneak up on people. People forget about them, but if they can get that Splash Bros back, like the thing about 3-point shooting is, the older you get, you don't get worse at it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like you may not be as fast as you were when you were younger, but
You
Clay,
still get that.
Clay Thompson don't play off of his speed.
Your 3-point shot just continues to get better no matter what. Because you think about it,
The more
anytime you
shots you take.
spend 10 years shooting probably 500 shots in the gym a day, it's gonna get better.
Mhm.
Like, no matter who
Yep.
you are. I mean, even the center's 3-point shot probably gotta get better over the years as well. I mean, it's probably still
Yeah,
not good, but I mean,
and
but you get what I'm saying. Like, I mean, once you do it so many times.
if you can put depth on that team, I think they'll be good. I think the Mavericks are one are a wing scorer away from being a top 3 team in the West. I think that Porzingis, um, and then Luca, obviously, but I think Daylon Wright is a really good combination for them, a really good point guard for them. I like Tim Hardaway Jr. I think he's a good 6-man style for them. I really
Mhm.
like I really like this. What's his name? Dorian Finney-Smith. I think he's a really good like wing, like defensive guy. But
Mhm.
if you add, excuse me, if you add a player that can score whenever Luca goes like out or can't score, or is missing shots, I think if you can add that player, that one piece, I think the Mavericks are right there. I think like because think about it, like with Dirk. Dirk was the only person that was the option of scoring. And I was watching the finals replay of the Mavericks, which is just amazing. And I hear one of the announcers. He goes, "I don't see the Mavericks. They're down. I think they went down 1-0 against the Heat the first game, and they're losing by like 10 against the Heat. And the guy goes, he says, I don't see the Mavericks winning this series because they don't have a player that can score outside of Dirk. BS. They had Jason Terry who could shoot the three, and he was not missing. They had
Mhm.
they had Jason Kidd who could make shots when he needed to make shots. They had everybody could make a shot when they needed to, and then they had JJ
Mhm.
Barea who would just
Yep.
make people look dumb. And
Yep. And he came off the bench, man. He would come off the bench and run the point like it was nobody's
well,
business, man.
and think about that.
Like,
So Dirk spent years trying to win it all. They'd go to the finals, or they go to the conference finals against the Spurs. They'd go and play the divisional finals against the Suns, and they'd beat them or they'd lose. And then they go against the Heat with Dwayne Wade and Shaq, and they lose. And they come back and they win. I think this team is set up better than that team in the fact that they have two pieces already, which that team
Mhm.
didn't have. They've got the Dirk style scorer, which I think Porzingis can get there, and then they have
Mhm.
Luca, who is more electric than any player the Mavericks have ever had in their history. And I think that if you add, I'm trying to think of a player like you add
Well,
a DeMar DeRozan type, a guy that just he can take it to the hole, he can shoot the three a little bit, and he can play defense, but he can score 25 a night. I think that they are in that conversation with the Clippers. Now they can beat the Clippers because I watched them beat the Clippers this year, and they beat the Lakers this year. I just don't think they can do it on a consistent basis without that third scorer.
Yeah, and it's funny you say like DeMar DeRozan. He's coming up from what I can see on free agency. From what
He,
I believe,
just throwing a shot out there, man.
yeah, he is coming up from what it appears.
Or like a
If I'm
Chris Middleton style player. Um, those are like the players I think. Like I know Chris Middleton maybe just signed a new contract, so that's probably not in the cards. But a DeMar DeRozan, maybe even like a Paul George is a little bit more than we probably need.
Mhm.
But you know, I don't see Paul George going to Texas, going to Dallas. But I think that if you can just get that one other dude, man, I think they're in it, man. And you know what's crazy is if you can recruit a European player that can do that, I think he'll go to Dallas. I think
Yeah,
Dallas is the number one like stop for these dudes because now they've got Kristaps, they've got Luca, they've got Maxi Kleba, they've got
got
that
a lot of European
they
guys
got
already on the team. I
Boban,
didn't think about that like that.
Boban. They got all these dudes that all these European players they played it with each other overseas, and now they're like, oh, I get to play with them again. Hey, you know what? I'll take them all. Like, let's go. Like Dirk
Yeah.
did as well, and they've got the mentorship in Dirk because Dirk still lives in Dallas. Like,
And a lot of the time, these European players, the ones that do come over, a lot of them are very loyal to the team and they'll stick with that team for a little bit. Like, think about Dirk. Dirk took a bunch of, hometown discounts back whenever he was a player just so we could land, other players to make those championship runs. He kind of did like what Tom Brady does, just without the success of how many championship rings he has. I mean, he would take smaller contracts to get better players.
I think they went 19 out of 20 years. I think they made the playoffs. Like, in the one season they had the best record in the league. Dirk won MVP, and they lost to the Baron Davis Warriors in the first round of the playoffs. That was the most upsetting
Yeah,
series, man. I was like, I was
yeah,
throwing shit. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Because it was the year after the finals run against the
yeah.
Heat.
It's just so many repeated years of runs, but no success, and then finally struck it that one
Well,
year.
they
That
finally hired Carlisle. They had Avery Johnson, which I think they won in spite of him.
yeah. Mhm.
He had
Yeah,
dudes like
when Rick
Snow.
Carlisle came along, he completely changed that team around, and then, dude, like, the whole team contributed, and, like, the thing that, um, is a little bit different from that team versus our team now, though, is back then, I feel like it was we won that finals because we had the depth, or
Every
we
player
had a
can
lot of
play.
depth. Yeah, exactly. Versus in today's league, though, a lot of the times it's not the case, but a lot of teams, they've got a couple really good players and no depth. But the teams that are winning the championships do have that depth that contribute on top of those players.
If you can have an 8-man rotation, I think that
Mhm,
you're good. Like if you can have 8 dudes that can play on the court at one, like not obviously at one time, but they can all be rotated in. I think
mhm.
that's how you win. 8 players. So you really need a solid starting five. I think you need one to three good like superstar caliber players, and then I think you need 3 to 4 players off the bench that can fill in and fill that role whenever it's needed. You know what I mean? Like, and I think
Yep.
that like you said it perfect. The 11 Mavericks had all that depth. They had the Devin Harris, the JJ Barea to back up Jason Kidd. They had the Tyson Chandler, who he was just the defensive force that they had been missing for years. They had Dirk. They had Stojakovic that could fill in for Dirk. They had, um, you know, Jason Terry who could shoot. Obviously, they had what's his name, Deshaun Stevenson, who was he come in like a spark plug. defense, threes. You had what's his name? Was Karan Butler on that team? I can't remember, but like you had those.
Ron Butler was on that team. Uh, let's see.
You had all these old dudes. You think about it.
Even had you had a young Steve Novak at the time. Um,
They had all these old dudes that could play.
Sean Marion. Did you say
Oh,
Sean
I
Marion?
forgot about Sean Marion.
Um,
He
yeah, we
balled
had
out.
Sean Marion on there.
Mm.
Yep, that lineup was crazy. How we had it stacked up
Yeah,
like
we had a
that.
bunch of players past their prime, but they were all hungry for championships. Because I don't think Jason Kidd had won a championship. I don't think Sean Marion had won a championship. Tyson Chandler hadn't. Dirk hadn't. None of those dudes had won one. They're all like, "Hey, let's do this."
Mhm.
Like let's freaking roll. Who gives a shit? We're gonna play the dream team of the Heat. With Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, and LeBron James.
Yeah.
Let's beat them. And I think that they just went out and did it. I don't know if we'll ever see a Mavericks team that will go on a run like that again. I think that this team will be more expected to go on a run. That team wasn't expected to do it. I think this team, if they get another player that can score, I think that they'll be expected to go deep in the playoffs every year. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um,
100%.
I think if Luka can figure out how to play defense, and he he shoots a lot, and I think that if he can pick his shots better, be more selective, I think that we'll be a much better team. And I think that if you give the ball to Kristaps Porzingis, man, that dude can score. He's 7'3". He can shoot from 5 feet behind the 3 point line. If he can learn that little bit of a Dirk fadeaway, I think he's unstoppable. I don't know how you stop that dude. And
Dude, Dirk still lives in that area. He needs to get with him, and they need to like train.
but so
Like,
Kristaps,
I mean, I think Dirk would do it because Dirk puts on for the city, bro. He would do it.
when is that statue gonna get built of Dirk? That's my real
Dude,
question.
are they building
I
one?
don't know. They
They
need
need
to.
to.
Yeah, they need to do like
Need
a
to.
like they need to do like the LA Live, how they have all those statues of all the
Yeah,
Lakers greats.
we need
They just need a
we
Dirk statue.
need we need statues around the American Airlines Center, and
No,
these are the ones we need. We need Dirk
and Madonna.
for sure. We need Mike Modano
That's
out
it.
there.
That is it.
That's it.
Maybe two statues of Dirk.
Get a second one. Just have another one.
Look, I got it for you. Here's the two statues. One of him with his famous fadeaway,
Okay.
and the other one of him with his flat bill Dallas championship hat holding the statue. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, we could do that, or whenever he does finger pistols.
Ooh. No, no, no. There's the
Ooh.
cigar picture. Do all three of those dudes. Jet,
Yeah.
Mark Cuban, and Dirk Nowitzki, all with the cigars in their mouth.
Yeah. Oh, dude, yes. Do that one for sure.
but leave Mark Cuban out because I feel like that's super like narcissistic. If you build a statue of yourself,
Oh, yeah, true. He is the one in charge of the
Be like,
decision. He's like, I think I'm gonna build a statue of myself right here. Yeah, put it right here.
and then
Put me in the center.
so here you go.
I'm the cool one in the middle.
Here's what you do: you build a statue of Dirk, leave a space for Luca later on in life, and then put Madonna and leave a space for when the Stars win their next championship, either Sagan or Jamie Benn or somebody.
Jamie Benn, bro.
Yeah,
Say I like Sagan, and he's the best skill player, but he's not the captain, bro.
yeah, you're
Not the
right. You're
captain.
right. You're right. So Jamie Benn, and hopefully we win a championship soon.
Yeah. I thought we were gonna do it this year.
Yeah.
Damn Corona. We would have had it not been for this bullshit.
Yeah. No, so I think that the worst team right now in the Metroplex is the Rangers. I think that we have one of the. It's
Yeah, it's sad.
it's the craziest thing though. If Corey Kluber pans out, like his injury comes
Mhm.
and he's able to play, I think we have one of the best rotations in the nation. When was the last time we
Which is
said that?
yeah, usually it's a damn dumpster fire out there,
Well,
like,
the last
I
time.
usually I usually don't like sitting in the seats next to the bullpen because it's so hot.
Well,
Just all the damn fire that we have out
well,
there,
think about
but
this. Think about this. The last time we had a really good rotation and bullpen, what did we do? We went to the World Series. You remember Cliff Lee, Cole
100%. Yep.
Hamels,
Neftali Feliz, the closing pitcher, bro.
Yeah, well,
Dude, Nefty.
he he
He
he
was one of my
he
favorites of that
blew
team.
up though whenever pressure came in, but
Oh yeah.
well, Nelson Cruz obviously ruined that one, but
What do you think about Ron Washington saying that Rangers fans, it's time for us to forgive Nelson Cruz for that?
hell
What do
nah.
you think? I'll never forget. People don't forget.
Yeah, people don't forget.
Like that movie Super
It
Bad.
was
It was like 8 years ago.
4-3.
People don't forget.
Yeah, yeah.
If you know, you know on that quote.
I mean,
But
the fact that I was about to go buy a World Series championship T-shirt, like, and we lost is so upsetting. Like,
yeah.
um, yeah,
Well, since you went and bought, since you were thinking about buying it early, that's why we lost. You jinxed us, you fucker.
no, they already had those things printed. You just got a ball. The game's over, man.
Yeah. Instead, a bunch of kids in like some third world country just got a bunch of free Rangers shirts.
I
That said,
need to go find one of those kids. Like, yo, can I get one?
hey, I'll slide you $30,
Yeah, yeah.
buddy.
I'll feed your family for a
But
month. It's fine.
yeah, you ever had clean water?
It's terrible. That's terrible.
I'm so sorry for everybody that heard.
Lord, please forgive me. All the pigs
That.
down in New
Lord, I apologize.
That's terrible.
Oh,
Yeah, no,
man.
that was
It's a good thing we don't have a lot of viewers. I'd probably get hung for that one.
literally.
But,
Oh man.
but
Let's see, I had a
oh, good.
well,
But any, anyways, do
the
you
last.
see?
Go ahead.
What's up?
I was
No, I was
saying
gonna transition to something else. What were you saying?
I was gonna do the same thing, man. You got it. You go.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, did you see Aaron Rodgers finally broke his silence?
He is
He
pissed.
he's really not, or he may be, but if he is, he's saying all the right things publicly, which I had a feeling would be the case, man. Um, that's why I told you, man. Brett Favre, like I like him. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks of all time. I think he needs to kind of hush up to the media on this. He's kind of spreading that story of Aaron Rodgers being pissed, and I think it's because he's putting himself back in his shoes and his position, and he was mad about that at that time. But Rodgers is a completely different individual. That if you really think about it, they're both brought up differently. Favre's this strong-willed country boy. Aaron Rodgers is this California kid. So they both
California.
they both handled it a little differently. And he came out. He had a press conference on May 15th, which was this past Friday. He had one where it was, I think it was like through Zoom or something like that. It was pretty funny. Before we get into what he was actually saying, there at one point you could hear like people's notifications coming in on like their computer or their phone or whatever on like, I guess, like I said, I think it was Zoom. So you would hear like a notification, and like Aaron Rodgers at one point was like, "Oh yeah, please go ahead and turn that off." Like,
Yeah.
you dumbass.
Well,
But he broke the silence, man. He was like, I'm gonna have a good relationship with him, like just like I've had with every other backup we've had. And I think he is realizing though that he may possibly end up having to go somewhere else if he
yeah, I
wants to
think
keep
he
playing
mentioned
longer.
that.
But he did mention that, but like I think he's also like respectful of like the decision. He understands like, hey, I'm not getting any younger. They're gonna start. He flat out said it's their job to put together a championship team for this year as well as the future years. So again, if this is, I don't know if this is truly how he feels, but he's saying everything right publicly. So, and then he even threw some kudos to his receivers, kind of shouting some of them out, saying that since the Packers didn't take a lot of receivers, it was kind of their testament to how much faith they have in the current receivers. I think that was just him trying to boost their egos. But what do you think about all that?
Hmm. I think that
Do you
he.
think he's being genuine?
I don't think that that dude's ever genuine, but I think. Uh,
Hater.
I'm not hating. I think that he's one of the greatest quarterbacks we've ever seen, but I think that he understands his relationship with the media. He understands that if he does stay and he says all these, crybaby comments, that he's going to be a villain. And
Mhm.
I think that if he understands like I said, the relationship with the media, that if he says the right things now and he ends up leaving, there's no um, there's nothing lost, right? Like there's nothing that nobody can say anything against him because he said all the right things. He tried to develop this kid. They felt like it was time to move on, and he's going to another team. And there's no love lost, right? Like it'll be okay. But if he goes in on this tirade, like he probably would have 10 years ago, um, and says all these things, and then the season goes bad, they're going to blame it on him. Um, and this kid's going to be in the NFL, and he didn't do his part, and I think that's going to look poorly on him for the gold jacket. You know what I mean? Because I think this
Mhm.
dude has a strong chance to be in the Hall of Fame, and I think
Oh,
how
100%.
you go out a lot of times is how they see you. They don't look at your first 15 years. They look at,
True.
oh, how'd you go out? And you were a little baby and you didn't want to help this dude out. So whatever. But I think
Prime example of that, T.O., man, look at how he went out in his character, and they won't vote his ass in even though he's got the stats for it,
now I
you know?
think Brett Favre's different because he's well liked across the country.
Uh-huh.
And I think that Brett Favre could have done whatever, said whatever. Like he sent his junk to a female. Nobody cared. like,
Yeah.
like,
It didn't even make, like,
yeah,
headlines,
yeah,
man, like,
yeah.
I mean,
Oh, it
it
made
was
headlines, but nobody,
I mean, it made
not in a
let me
negative
rephrase
way.
that, it made headlines on, like, the 5th page of the paper, it wasn't, like, front page news or anything, but
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I really hope that he goes to Dallas.
mm.
just selfishly, like, because I want to throw it, and you and your dad and all and Jeff Corley and
Got
all
Aaron
the
Rodgers going
Packers.
to
Yeah,
Dallas?
I want to throw it in y'all's face.
Dude, no way he would ever go there. He
I
would
think
ne
he would.
he would nah, nah.
I think that
I think as long as you guys have McCarthy, Rodgers will never go to Dallas. 'Cause it's not that he thinks poorly of McCarthy, I think it's just he's had his fair share of Mike McCarthy, and we all know how that kinda ended with those 2.
yeah,
It wasn't like a terrible ending, but whenever McCarthy lost the job, there were some things where Aaron Rodgers was like, "Oh, if he woulda let me, check down or change the play or, whatever the case is," um, on certain things or he would criticize those play calls. I don't think that I don't think they have ill will towards each other. I just don't think they have any interest in working with each other again. So I think
that's
if
fair.
McCarthy's there, that would never be a chance.
That's fair. I got you. But things
So
change. So,
and also I would lose my mind. So
but
I'm not even gonna think of that being a
if
possibility.
you're an all time quarterback and somebody says, "Hey, Dallas is going to offer you 40 million a year or 40 million for the one season or two seasons," and they've
Mm,
got this dude named CeeDee Lamb who's the next big thing. They've got Amari Cooper is one of the best route runners in the country. You got Zeke, who's a top 5 back in the country, and you've got Michael Gallup, who's an up and coming receiver. And then they draft a tight end, just like legit, whatever. Hopefully one day, you're like, well, I could throw
mhm.
50 touchdowns next season, and
Give me a hat and call me cowboy, baby. I'm coming.
you know what I'm saying? Like things change. So
Yeah,
just like I never thought LeBron would go back to Cleveland.
yeah,
Just because of how badly that ended. People were burning his jerseys. Um,
yeah,
you know, I think the Tom Brady thing's a little different because Tom Brady's much older, and I think Tom Brady this is literally his last 2 years that he's going to play.
yeah.
Um,
No way he plays after these 2. If he does, I'll honestly be surprised if he plays after 1. If he wins a championship this year,
he
by
won't.
some miracle, Tampa Bay wins,
Yeah,
he will quit.
I don't
I
see it,
bet you.
man. I think that they're like that team, man. Like they may go pretty far in
I
the
think they're
playoffs,
the
but
Browns. I think they're gonna be the Browns of last year. They're
yeah,
getting all this hype in the offseason, and they're
all
gonna
these
be
offensive
mediocre
weapons.
at best.
I think
Yeah,
I, I think they'll make the playoffs. I think
yeah.
I could see like
I
a
think they're slightly above average team.
so if you look at history, like when Steve Young took over for
Mhm.
Joe Montana went to the Chiefs
Yep.
and they went to the AFC Championship. I could see like a scenario playing out like that. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? But
I can see that.
you know, I think that there's a lot of good teams right now in the NFL, which means that
Yep.
there's less good teams because more competition. But I think that The Buffalo Bills are going to be really good in the AFC. I think the Chiefs are still going to be the best team. I think the Ravens are going to get better. Um, the NFC is really stacked, like really stacked. Like
Yeah,
people forget
it's
about
not even fair in the
people
NFC right now, man.
people forget about Russell Wilson being in Seattle. People forget about the 49ers. They destroyed people. They forget that the Saints still have Drew Brees. They added
Yep.
Emmanuel Sanders, which nobody's talking about. I think he's going to be a really good fantasy receiver, which I'm
Mhm.
excited about this podcast when fantasy season comes up because
Yes.
we're going to be killing it. But
And we've got some ideas for that too. If anybody's listening, right, we're gonna be doing a league with a few viewers and some of our buddies. So we're gonna be getting
and
some of them on
after
the or trying to get some of them on the podcast, do like a draft type deal. Y'all stay tuned. We're working on some big things for fantasy football season.
so back to the thing like Saints.
Sorry.
No, you're good. No, then
Threw that advertisement in there.
yeah,
Shameless plug.
yeah. The NFC South is stacked. Um, the Rams are still a good team. The Cardinals are going to be much much better. I think they're kind of a dark horse team sitting there. Um,
I was
they're going to score a
same
lot of
thing.
points at least, huh?
I was thinking the same thing. I don't think they're going to be, championship team or anything like that, but I think they're going to be a very good team, and I think they're going to be that team that they're going to catch a lot of people by surprise on each weekend,
They're going to compete.
and they're going to get. Yeah, exactly. They're going to have the chance. I think they go at least 500 because I think they're going to have the chance to win every weekend almost.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
And then I'm just thinking other teams like the
you
Cowboys.
got the Falcons. They
Cowboys.
just got Todd Gurley.
Oh yeah, yeah. The Falcons are interesting. I don't know how they're going to play. We'll
Yeah.
see, right? I think that their success hinges on how well Matt Ryan can throw the ball.
Hmm.
Todd Gurley was going to help them no matter what because Devontae Freeman has been a crutch for the past 2 years. Tevin Coleman, before he left to the 49ers, he couldn't play all his snaps because he had that issue. Um, I think you give them a legit running back that stays healthy, hopefully. Um, they have two of the best receivers in the league, Calvin Ridley, Julio Jones. They lost their really good tight end, but I think they'll be fine. They're going to be good. I think Tampa Bay's, we'll see, like we just talked about. The Cowboys are going to be regardless. They're going to be at least a 500 team. Um,
Hmm.
the Eagles are always there. The Packers, obviously, we'll see how that goes down the line, and then the Vikings, like there's like 10 teams in the NFC that could compete. You know what I mean? And then the other side of it, there's four teams. Like I said, the Chiefs, the Bills, the Ravens, and then the Titans, I think are the four teams in the AFC. And I don't think anybody below them. I could see the Dolphins winning 4 games. That's
Each side, on each side of the conferences, NFC and AFC. Which ones are you thinking are the toughest conference on each side right now? Just based on what current rosters are looking like.
NFC South and the NFC.
NFC South. I was thinking, dude. Yeah, I was saying the same thing. I mean, you got New Orleans and Tampa who are going to be competing. You don't know how Atlanta's going to play, but they just got Todd Gurley, and like you said, it hinged on Matt Ryan. They still got Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley. Um,
I think the
Carolina. I'm curious on what Carolina's going to do, man.
new coach.
With Teddy Bridge. Yeah, new coach, new system, Teddy Bridgewater, new QB with that.
I can't believe they didn't take Isaiah Simmons. That still baffles me. Like,
Yeah.
I get it. You take Derek Brown, but
Yeah.
I feel like Isaiah Simmons can add so much more to your defense. You lost your best linebacker. You lost the best linebacker
100%.
in the league. You lost Luke
Yep.
Kuechly. And you can
Yep.
add the best athlete in the country. You could add him to your roster. He doesn't hurt you. Um, Derek Brown could end up like Taco Charlton and not doing anything. You know,
Mhm.
um, I think the AFC, the toughest conference. I'm definitely thinking the conference with the Ravens and the Steelers. I think because they're such a historical conference, with I think the Browns are in that one too, right?
Mhm.
I think that they play so hard and like their rivalries are so strong. I think that division beats itself up. But I think the Steelers are going to be a lot better than people think. They had a backup quarterback and they almost made the playoffs. And Mike Tomlin's still a great coach. The Ravens are really good. The Browns could be
Yeah.
good. depending on how they play. But
Yeah.
and who's the other person in that division?
Cincinnati, Joe Burrow.
So they're terrible. But like
Joe
uh
Burrow's gonna turn it around, man.
like what else,
He's gonna turn it around.
what other divisions like the Bills, Patriots, Dolphins, Jets, that's trash. Um
Yeah.
the Chiefs, Chargers, that could be a pretty good division.
Denver and Oakland, yeah,
That
that's not bad either.
oh that
Denver made some good moves in the
I
draft.
think
They
all
took, Jerry Jeudy.
I think all four of those teams could possibly compete for at least 500.
Yeah.
I think
I think I think they're gonna produce at least a wild card team 'cause I think Kansas City no doubt's gonna win that conference.
Denver need
Or that I mean, that division, but,
Denver
like
Denver's not gonna be as good as everybody. Like people are talking about their draft was really good. They still got Drew Lock. Like I'm not 100% sold on that dude. Like his best game, he threw 3 touchdowns.
you got Oakland too, though, like, and I think Oakland is shaping
Oakland,
back up a little bit.
Oakland may make the playoffs this year with the
Yeah.
especially with 7 playoff teams.
You got 7 playoff teams. They added some weapons in the draft, and then also as well,
Oh, by the way,
I think they're gonna be riding high on the new stadium, new team, or, like, new location, like, feel. I think they're gonna be riding high on that, and I think their home games are gonna be off the chain, and I think they're gonna win a lot of their home games because of that.
I have a correction for earlier. I was talking about the Rams, and I
Mhm.
said Austin Eckler. I totally meant the Chargers when I said that.
Okay, yeah. I thought I heard you say Eckler, and I was like,
Austin
I
Eckler
thought maybe I just missed something.
Austin Eckler plays for the Chargers, not the Rams. Sorry about that.
My bad for not picking that up earlier.
No, you're
I
good.
heard you say it, and I didn't think
Well, it's
anything of it.
LA. I forget which team is which.
Yeah,
But if the Chargers
yeah.
play like their jerseys are gonna look, they may be hella good because their jerseys are
Yeah.
legit.
If the Rams play how their jerseys look,
We're
they're gonna
working at
be
Best
0-17 because 'Cause they're adding an extra game, right,
Buy. Not yet.
as well? Oh, so 0-16 then. They're gonna be 0-16 if they play like their
Those
jersey.
jerseys are
Their jer
terrible.
whoever is in charge of rebranding for the Rams,
Although
just go ahead and fire sale on that department, clean it out, get you some new people, d just start over. Like, it's not too late. The season hasn't started
I
yet.
like
We're not
their
even
helmets though.
I don't like a damn thing about their
I
uniforms.
don't like the electric blue. That's weird looking. I don't like the yellow to go with the electric blue. It's literally IKEA colors or Best Buy.
Yeah, I was about to say, I just saw somebody the other day that said if IKEA had a football
I
team, this is what
I
they look like.
hate the name tapes. Like
Mhm.
like are you trying to look like a military uniform? Like come on,
Yeah.
it looks terrible. Not saying the
I don't know
military
what the
uni
hell they're
I'm not saying the military uniform looks terrible. There's a reason why we have name tapes. But the football team, you got a name on your back, dude. We know what team you
Yep.
are.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that was not their
And then the
best.
faded numbers, I do not like that.
Yeah. The whole thing, I just think they need to scrap it. We're gonna start a petition at the BS Academy. We're gonna start passing it around.
So everybody's like hating on the Atlanta jerseys. I like
Keep
them.
the Rams on lockdown until they fix their jerseys.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, LA's already on lockdown anyway, so
That's what I'm saying, keep them on lockdown until the whole city can come out, but they can't play games until they fix it.
well, they're not breaking lockdown until August. And so everybody's trying to move. They're like, "Yeah, screw
Yeah,
it."
it messed up my plans, man. I was supposed to be going to California in October.
Uh,
Um, we're not doing it, so I'd be able to go to Gifford's wedding now. So,
ooh, I'm gonna try to go.
ooh, litty, bro.
I'm gonna try to go. Hopefully, I'm on leave then, so I can go.
Yeah, man.
Um,
Shout out to our boy Giff.
yeah, everybody get
But,
married.
yeah.
You, Darren, Giff, Wesley,
Yeah,
everybody.
yeah, Darren and them got married out of nowhere. I just saw it pop up on Facebook. I think they had to like maybe make changes. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't talk to him really anymore, so
the,
I don't
the,
know the details on that.
the
But
COVID screwed everything up, man.
yeah, I got a buddy I used to work with. He was supposed to get married today, to be honest, and they had to postpone it to like next year. That was like the next time they could book it. I saw like his bride to be posted something on Facebook about it.
Oof.
And she was saying that like it kind of worked out because it was supposed to be an outdoor wedding and it's been pouring ass rain all day. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, still sucks though. But yeah, man, we'll keep tracking this Rona shit, dude. Um, and keep tracking what the leagues are gonna do as far as opening back up.
Oh, by the
Hopefully
way,
soon.
I got a shout out for these new games that are coming out. We're getting PGA 2K21 and on my birthday, August 21st.
Yeah, 2K, bro.
Yeah,
Like that's dope.
so Justin Thomas is on the cover of that, which
Okay.
I think that's awesome. But it should be fun. I enjoy the heck out of the golf games, especially back in the Tiger Woods days. So hopefully it's good.
2K just makes such a good sports game too, man. I think that's gonna.
As long as
I'm
they don't
curious what they do
micro,
with golf.
as long as they don't microtransact it, I'll be good. Um,
Yeah,
and then
please.
yeah, and then Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 are coming out. And
Yo,
they're gonna bring back the old game. You can play fully. You can even go for the skate letters like SKATE.
yep.
And then they're gonna have like the new like added stuff to it, and I'm very excited about that.
That's right after my birthday. I think it comes out on September 4th.
Yeah,
Uh, we're gonna have to do like a special birthday episode for both because we're so close on birthdays.
yeah.
Uh,
As long as I'm gonna be spending a lot of money that year, that around that time, because it's gonna be Madden's gonna come out. 2K21 for golf is going to come out. Pro Skater is going to come out, and then NBA is going to come out all like the same time. So
phew.
I am
Let me go
going.
ahead and let me go ahead and apply for a new credit
Yeah,
card.
can I get one of them stimulus checks?
Yeah. Yeah, you just imagine the, Dave Chappelle, like,
Yeah,
meme where
yeah,
he's got, like, coke on his nose, he's scratching, "You got any more of them stimulus
yeah,
checks?"
yeah, 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 yeah. So
All the best games are coming out right now. I need it. I need
per-
it.
perfect. I
But
can't wait.
and a new NHL game will be coming out shortly thereafter as well. We're all hooked on the NHL game now.
Yeah, the shell, man.
Yeah, it's that chill, bro. The EASHL.
or
But
LHAES.
yeah, the other night, yeah, with the when it glitched out on us. Man, good old deal, good shit. But yeah, man, everybody tuning in though, we appreciate y'all staying with us, listening to us this long. I think it's about time we start wrapping this one up. What you say, man?
Yeah, absolutely. A few things I got for everybody.
Shoot,
Whenever
update section.
whenever these sports, actual all sports besides the UFC, and we'll talk about the UFC next week, next week or next podcast. But
Mhm.
uh, a few things that we're looking at is we're looking at having a second season where we're going to add video when all these sports kind of come back, where we have more things to talk about and we can kind of go in depth about things. And we're gonna try again to keep streaming some of our NHL games. So if y'all want to watch that, um, and we're going to try to add things to this and start promoting a little bit. I know it's kind of a dead time for sports, so we're just trying to
Yeah.
survive and get our content out there, and we're going to keep trying to improve. So
Yeah. We're just trying to use this time to like we're obviously both new to the whole podcasting thing. So we're trying to use this time just get our feet wet, kind of get things rolling so that way when the sports do pick back up, we're ready to rock and roll. We'll definitely be a lot more consistent with how frequently we're putting out um, content as well once the sports season does roll around. Just right now, obviously we can only talk about whatever comes up. So we got to usually wait a week or two before we can get enough to actually fill an episode. So y'all keep hanging with us. We'll definitely keep coming to you with whatever happens in the meantime. But yeah, when sports come back, it's going to be go time. We've got a lot of ideas ready. We've got a lot of things planned. So y'all keep staying tuned. Like, comment, share wherever you listen to us at.
absolutely.